Hey everyone, my name is Natalia Eileen, and I help businesses build more diverse, more inclusive workplaces. I'm excited to be here today because since the last time I hopped on and shared a video, a lot has happened. Like, a lot has happened. So we're due for a catch-up, and especially due because in the midst of what is happening right now, we need to make a case for diversity and inclusion. So that's what I'm here to do today. I'm here to share 4 shifts that we're seeing in work, not just because of the current public health crisis, but beyond that, 4 shifts that we're seeing in work that make diversity and inclusion an important part of any workplace. Now, if you're a diversity and inclusion professional, or if you just care about the work and you do it often, you probably get a question that I get all the time too. So you probably hear, what's the ROI? Is it really that important that we do this diversity thing? Does it really matter though? If those questions sound familiar, then I am here to help in whatever way I can. And so I've put together a series of 3 videos where I will be sharing 3 different ways you can handle those kinds of questions. One of the ways is by describing the shifts that we're seeing in business today, the shifts that we're seeing in the workplace. And that's what we're going to talk about today. Another one of the ways that you can address that question is by addressing the real tangible benefits of diversity and inclusion in the workplace. There have been quite a few research studies that you can point to, a lot of data that you can point to help support the need for diversity and inclusion in the workplace. So that's for video number 2. The third video will be how you can approach people individually, one-on-one, when they come to you with skepticism. There are ways that you can manage those conversations so that you're not alienating people, but you're inviting them in. So we'll talk about that in the last video of this series. Until then, let's get started with the 4 shifts we're seeing in the workplace that can really point to why we need diversity and inclusion, and why the efforts that you're doing, the efforts that your peers are doing in this space really matter now more than ever. The first shift is the most obvious. We are in the middle of a public health crisis that has changed the way we all do work. I hope you and your family are staying safe and healthy. I hope you and your work colleagues are finding ways to band together in this time and offer solace to those who are most impacted by this. And if you're anything like the companies that are thinking very strategically about how this public health crisis impacts them economically, I also hope you're thinking about how to continue to advocate for diversity and inclusion, because now more than ever it is necessary. Companies that see themselves through to the other side of a crisis are those that invest in their employees. Research has shown this. And if a company is going to make sure that they're getting themselves through this, they're going to have to think inclusively about how they manage their people. How can they do that? Here are a few ways. The first is by making sure that people are equipped with all of the necessary tools they need to be successful in their workplace, even if they're doing that work from home. The second is by making sure that managers and those who oversee any people have the necessary resources to support those people with mental health considerations, especially during this time when we're all managing our mental health in different ways. Another way that you can be thinking about diversity and inclusion as a result of this public health crisis is by making sure that team cultures offer and encourage the opportunity to have employees reach out if maybe they need to adjust the way that they work because maybe they're taking care of young children in their home now 24/7, or if maybe they need to adjust the way they work because they're caring for a sick relative. There are so many sirens all the time. Like, I hope people are okay. Okay. The other thing to consider is the fact that many specific groups within your employee workforce may be experiencing this pandemic differently. For example, Asian Americans are being unfairly targeted during this time. They're experiencing racist rhetoric and might need additional support because of that. Additionally, we know that communities of color are really experiencing the impact of this public health crisis because many of those communities are experiencing higher rates of infection and higher rates of death. Both of those things are among the many that need to be addressed when it comes to how this public health crisis is impacting people in different ways. Your inclusion professionals in particular, your diversity and inclusion professionals can take the time to develop frameworks, can take the time to develop trainings, can offer supports and resources to your managers as you're all going through this very tricky time. So again, during this time, it may be tempting to pull back on some of the diversity and inclusion initiatives you've been doing, but this is the time to lean in, and I hope you're thinking about doing so. Shift number 2. Last year, a group of CEOs from American companies came together as part of the Business Roundtable. Now, they convene like that on a regular basis, but this time was special because they released a statement that redefined the purpose of an organization. It redefined the purpose of a company. And in that statement, they said that it's not just about the shareholders and the investments. It's not just about the profit that a company can make for those shareholders. The purpose of a company, the purpose of a corporation is also to keep an eye out for, to take care of its employees, its suppliers, and the environment. These were specifically included as part of the purpose of a company. Today, CEOs and senior leaders everywhere are thinking about companies differently. They're thinking about how best to invest in people. Companies that invest in diversity and inclusion can support their employees. That's what it's all about. Diversity and inclusion is not just for a particular subset of employees, it's for all employees in one workplace. Shift number 3, Millennials. Millennials are the fastest growing group of professionals out there today. And they're also the most likely to hop year over year across jobs, which can cost a lot of money. Company turnover, employee turnover at companies costs those companies lots of money. Imagine all the money it takes to attract new employees, hire new employees, onboard new employees. Companies spent in 2018 alone $600 billion hiring and training people. That's a lot of money. In order to save that money, companies can be more invested in their employees. They can show that investment, and they can build employee engagement broadly by making sure that they have adequate diversity and inclusion efforts, by putting in the time and energy into building out diversity and inclusion teams and initiatives. That is a great way to minimize that cost. And if you're thinking, well, with the current economic climate, I don't know if people are going to be leaving their jobs. That may be true. But this is something that companies don't want to be spending money on now more than ever. To make sure that people are not leaving, that people are not looking around to something that's better, companies need to be taking care of their employees today. Number 4. Shift number 4 that we're seeing is the United States, this country, is becoming more diverse. It's becoming more racially diverse, it's becoming more ethnically diverse. And because of that, consumers here in the United States are also becoming more diverse. If companies want to build representative products, if companies want to have representative marketing, they need to have a representative workforce. That means diversity recruitment is super important. It's like crazy out there. I don't know what's going on. Gotta say a little prayer for these people out there who are, I hope they're okay. Also for the people who are running these ambulances, right? Okay, this is a time to lean in, not a time to back off of diversity and inclusion. I hope the suggestions offered here provided some ammunition for you as you go into your conversations with your leaders about why they should be thinking about their people in this way during this time. This is a crazy time. I don't know. We're all trying to figure it out. And I hope that you and your family are staying healthy and safe through all of it. I also hope to make more videos like this because now that we're home, I have a little more time. So if you like what you see, please like and subscribe below. And until next time, I'll talk to you later.